I was discussing with you about how to make different web pages, okay, through the concepts of teaching you the format of go to W3 schools to let you know what I was doing. So we were at a topic, Aditya, about CSS. And in CSS, we were discussing about how to make a display.
Okay.
That is the topic of block level element and inline element. So what was the? I'll just quickly revise with you. Then we will move ahead. What happens is very simple, Aditya. Block level means it will take the element will take the complete line. Element means what? The text which I write is called as my sorry. The text which I write is called content, and element is the tag which I use. So the tag which I use, the div tag, h1 tag, para tag, they will occupy the complete line. And if they occupy the complete line, irrespective of the content, then they are termed as block level elements. And if a element, that is the tag, occupies only the amount of space depending upon the content, how much the content will be needing to fit himself, such an element is called as inline element. You are understanding the difference? By looking at the output, by looking at the diagram also, you can analyze and understand what is different between block level element and inline element is it fine, Aditya?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So now let's proceed ahead. Today I'm going to teach you about an interesting topic which is called as in CSS layout, which is called the position property. Okay. Position, as the title tells us, position will precisely deal with where and how you want to place your content on the browser screen. The browser screen is also called as viewport. Again, I'm using a term called viewport. Viewport means the visible area of the browser screen. Okay, so the title of the topic for today is position, and I'm going to teach you the various ways in which you can position your content on a browser screen. Okay, so it's very simple, Aditya, and it's very easy to try it out also. So I will come to my topic. I'm in Visual Studio now. I'll create a new file, okay, with the name position.html. Okay, so I'll come here to the new file. Let me name it as position.html. Okay, and once we are here, I'll use the basic HTML tag, that is the structure tag called HTML, and then we have the head tag, and then we start with the body tag. In the head tag, I'm going to write a title with the name CSS layout, and the property which we are seeing is the position property. And now let's start with our understanding. See, Aditya, by default, whenever I write a tag, whenever I use some content, say I'm writing Aditya is learning HTML and CSS. Okay, I'm just writing this one line of text. If I see the output in the preview window, I can see the text is coming on the top left corner, okay, of my screen, which is the default way. Say it's like you're writing something on a notebook. You always tend to start with, say, the left side of the book. Okay, the first page, first line we tend to use. Same thing is happening here also. By default, the output is starting from the left hand side. Okay, and if I want to give them, place them in some boxes or do some decoration around it, then I will be using some element. Say the element which I'm using is the div element. Div element is a block level element, and it will ensure that the text will be taking up the complete line. Okay, and the complete line will get reserved for this text. Okay, and I
Wait, can I get something? I need to get my computer charger starting low, okay?
okay.
Mac, you can continue.
Okay, good. So Aditya, we are using the div tag. Div tag is a block level element and it will occupy the complete line. Now it's a very plain, simple looking element in the browser, and I can add some decoration to it. I can do some decoration by doing some styling to my div tag, and we write the style tag. We write the div, and we can define the styling to it. I tell the div that I am changing some basic features in you. Okay, what I'm changing? I'm telling let your background color. It's very simple, Aditya. See, it's like step by step to do some styling. I tell the background color be red. Okay. I tell him the fore color be white. I tell him like let your font size be say 30 pixel. So when I do this minor changes and see my result, it is looking different altogether now. Okay, it's like more the plain text is looking more okay appealing and better. I can tell like I want to have a border around you. Okay, so border I define the 1 pixel. Okay, so a solid line. What is the color? A black in color. Okay, so there could be a border coming up on the screen now. You can see. Okay, if it's not very visible, I can change the thickness of it. So I'll define a 5 pixel border. When I see the result, you can see a border coming up on the screen. Okay, I can tell him like, okay, give me. So basically, I'm decorating things, but that doesn't. We have not still used any of the position property, but by default, the position property is already been implemented, which is the default property. So what happens, Aditya, is that there are 5 different position values. The first one is called static. Static means what? The elements, HTML elements are positioned static by default. Default means something which I don't use, but still it exists. In my example here, I have not used the position property, but still the position property is in use, okay, and it exists. Static position elements are not affected by the top, bottom, left, and right properties. Okay, an element with position static is not positioned in any special way. It is always positioned according to the normal flow of the page, which is happening in my case. If I see the output, it is coming from the left hand side. Okay, and if you define something like say left, if I write left, or if I write first right, I can mention the position, though is default, but I'll write it again. I'll write, okay, I mention it again, static. Static means which is something of the default. Okay. And now if I try to use the left property, left, say, give me 50 pixel gap, there would be no effect to the result. It is still of the same coordinate. If I change to left to be 500, save it, and if I refresh it, it will not be effective. The same x-axis and all is the same. Okay, the left is not moving, the block is not moving towards 500 pixels from the left, because the position we have indicated is what? Static. Static means something which is as per the flow of your data, as per the static position, not affected. It is always positioned according to the normal flow of the page. Okay, so these properties don't affect the static position, the left, right, bottom, and top. Understanding, Aditya, this much?
Yes, I am.
Please be free to ask me question, Aditya. Okay, just think, just relax, sit back. Okay, just enjoy the learning. What I will suggest you. Okay, see how it looks. Okay, and what are the features? We are going very slowly, step by step. Okay, so static means something which is doesn't affect the left, right, and all won't be affected. It is as per the flow of the program. Then we have, Aditya, something called relative. Relative is something which will cause the element's position relative to its normal position. Setting the top left properties of the relative position element will cause it to be adjusted. So now adjustment would happen away from his normal position. This is his normal position. And now when I just add these 50 left, okay, I will add some right property, say n random one, I'm writing 40. I'll write the top property, top attribute, say 60. I'm just writing some random numbers. Okay, if I see it now in the preview window, since it is a static position, there is no change in the output. But if I just change from static to relative, and now when I see my result, it won't be the same. So now it is moving, it's changing, it's trying to move on the screen. The left is getting affected 50 pixel, the right is also getting affected, and the top is also getting affected. The effects can be visible because the position we have used is relative. With static, it will not change. It will be at a fixed location. But with relative, the value specified would be considered left, right, bottom, and top. It's very simple, Aditya. And for us is that the seeing is believing. You get some result, you tend to believe it. Okay? Yes, I can see the changes happening. You don't have Visual Studio installed, correct? Vidya Aditya?
Yeah, everything's okay.
No, no, no. But I ask you a question.
I'm here again. Sorry.
No, Aditya, you don't have Visual Studio installed, right?
Yeah, no, I do.
You do? Oh, that's very nice to hear. Okay. So would you like to try the small
It still
example?
does not work. It wouldn't click. And then my dad said tomorrow you would help me.
Okay, 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 no problem. So I will continue with my teaching. Okay, and you
Yeah.
stop me anywhere if you don't understand.
Okay.
Okay. So till now it is clear, static and relative, Aditya.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move ahead. I can define like this, Aditya. So let me define a class, and I will name this as static. Okay. Aditya is learning this, and I will now so reframe my text. Okay, and let me reframe it. This is static. Uh, the static position position value. Okay, this is static one, and how we define it is that I can write static div dot static, and the position is static. So the effect would be on the same line. Okay. Now Aditya, then I use the other option, which is I write a one more div tag. If need be, add a br break here, and I write relative. So this is a relative one. Relative. This is an relative position. And let me copy and paste this above content, and let me name it as relative. So the effect of this static would be for the first div tag. The effect of this relative would be for the second div tag. And you can notice the okay. Then we can notice the difference. Okay, we are not able to see the difference here. Okay, div static, div relative. Ah, I have not changed the name. Still static only. It should be relative. Okay, so now you can see it is positioned somewhere else. It is not coming on the left hand side because we have used position relative. Okay. Now Aditya, we have the third one which is called fixed. Fixed position element. See what happens is, say when I view this in a proper browser, okay, and say like I'm adding some codes now, I'm adding some text now, PR tag, and say Lauren 500. Okay, Lauren 500 will give me 500 words on the screen. So now when I see the result on the browser, when I refresh the page, okay, uh, it is like n number of words are coming on the screen. Okay, and if I want to add more, say H1 and Lauren. So now if you notice, Aditya, the complete screen is filled with text, and as I move my text down, the fixed position values are getting hidden. Okay, because there's a scrolling effect which is happening now. Okay, uh, this text static position and the relative position are getting hidden. Okay, But in cases, if you need, in a situation, if you need that the value should not be moved, okay, or the title should be at a fixed location, then you can position the value using fixed. Is position relative to the viewport. Viewport means a visible area. Okay, if in my output here, Aditya, this is my visible area. Okay, the what I see currently is my visible area. Now this is my visible area. It's called viewport, which means it always stays in the same place even if the page is scrolled. Okay, so irrespective if you scroll the page, still it will be at a fixed position. Let's try to prove this fact by writing one more tag. And what I will do to this tag is I'll define it as fixed. This is and this is uh, fixed position value, and let me copy and paste this one. But when I'm copying and pasting, Aditya, I'm just changing the position value. The first time it was static, second time it was relative, this time I'm putting it as fixed. Okay, now when I see my result with the third choice given, okay, and this should be fixed. With the third choice given, when I see my result, okay, and so fixed position is working like relative. It is using the values, okay, making it move across on the screen. But now when I scroll, see, can you see the notice the difference, Aditya? The fixed box is not getting hidden, though I am scrolling, moving. You understanding, Aditya?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope you have you understanding, Aditya, because the thing is that you don't type any. Means yeah, of course your Visual Studio issue is still persisting according to you. So I'm just a bit concerned, but I hope you're understanding properly what is happening. Okay, it should not, your lessons should not go waste. Like, okay, the teacher taught me, but I didn't practice. I don't know. You might not be able to practice also these things. Okay, but they're simple, Aditya. My end, what I want to say, don't worry about the number of lines. If you see, you might get, as a student, a child, you might get worried, oh, so many lines I have to type. If you notice, Aditya, I'm just copying and pasting many times. Okay, so these are very repetitive. Okay, but there is a result for us to, okay, to understand and to analyze what it does. I will be happy if you ask me any questions, Aditya. That when a student asks a question, then it means that the student is understanding also. It's like that. So any question, Aditya, you want to ask me?
No.
Okay. Uh,
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay, please continue. Please.
Okay. So Aditya, can we recollect what is the title of this topic which I'm discussing with you?
I don't know what the title is. I think it's CSS or oh, I forgot the I don't know what the title is.
Okay. Good. Very good.
Is it static, relative,
Very good.
fixed?
Very good. Very good. Okay. We are talking about the CSS position property, and it is about, yes, correct, about static, relative. Okay, the various properties we are observing, okay, and trying to understand. Good. Okay, so Aditya, let's continue further, okay, with our discussion. Let's see up now another property which is available. Okay, so we have seen the three properties now. One is the static, one is the relative, one is the fixed. Okay, so now let us dive into some more properties. Okay, let us see across the other property which is available. Okay, and the one which is available is called as the third one or fourth one, and let me share my screen. Yeah. So we have been using the fixed property. Okay, now what happens, Aditya, is fixed will make content fixed at one particular location. Okay, and it would be accordingly visible. Now the next one which comes up is the next property, and the next property states is about absolute. What do you mean by absolute? Okay, an element with position absolute is uh, is positioned is positioned relative to the nearest position center ancestor. Okay, now what do you mean by this? An element with position absolute is positioned relative to the nearest position ancestor. Ancestor means something which is dealing with, okay, some parent. Okay, ancestor is talking about having a parent. Okay, and basically what it goes, why you require, and what will be the ancestor concept. Okay, so that we'll try to understand. So, however, if an absolute position element has no position ancestor, it uses the okay, it uses the document body and moves along with the page scrolling. Okay? So let's try to understand this, Aditya, what it means. Okay? So what I will do, Aditya, in this example, okay, is that we are going to have something like this. There would be, it looks big, but it's very simple, Aditya. We'll try to understand with proper example to it, okay, which will make sense to you, okay, why you require to use it. So Aditya, what happens is that I'm having these tags, okay, and to this tag, what I'm attaching now is, see, as per the example, okay, just a minute, I'll show you. So Aditya, we are having a div class which is called relative. Relative means what? It can be moved. Okay, it can be positioned onto the screen. Okay, and so we have a div tag which is relative, and within this div tag, Aditya, within the relative, there's one more div tag being written. If you notice, this div tag is internal to the above div tag. This div tag is internal to the above div tag. When the tag is internal to the above to another tag, then what it is termed is that it is having an ancestor. Okay, it is having an ancestor. So who is the ancestor for this inside div tag? Is the outer div tag. Okay, is the ancestor. Now what happens is that, say, let's start implementation. So I'll make the screen look smaller. I'll not use the static you're already familiar. I'll use relative, and to this relative, okay, and to this relative, what I will do is I will define some another tag. Okay, so the tag which I'll write for now is, after writing relative, I'll remove this relative. I'll just keep one, and this one also remove, Aditya, and within this div tag, what I will do is I will add I will add now. What I will add, Aditya, is inside this div tag. I'll add one more tag. Okay, and what I will be writing inside the div tag is div class equal to absolute, and let me write it. This is an absolute position value. So Aditya, what has happened? What is the change we have done here? The change which is happening here is that we are basically, okay, making one div tag inside another div tag. Okay. If I look the output, the result for now, how it looks. Okay. Now we have not indicated any precise positioning and all. We have not used the features to the best. So you will see that it looks very simple. It is like one after the another. The output is coming. Now, since the output is coming one after the another, okay, now I can specify some coordinates to see the effect. Okay, what we will first do is that the relative width and height would be given to the ancestor element, to the parent element, and once it is given, then we will be having the width and height for the child also. Okay, and how I do so is, okay, so for the parent the relative is given. Okay, width, left, right, and all is being specified. Now let me write for the child by writing div dot absolute. I'll repeat all this thing from here, control C, control V. And when once I repeat it for absolute, I'm telling it that you position yourself absolute. So absolute means if you look at his parent, okay, according to his parent it will work. Parent is the above tab, and we tell him is that move left and right and okay and bottom and bottom, okay, and the top. To be top. Only change is the absolute. Now Aditya, when you see the results, okay, it is looking something like this. Okay, if I need the result to be as per this output, so the relative width and height is specified. Okay, so let me specify here also the width and height. We will have a width of say 300 pixel. We'll have a height of say 200 pixel. And now when I see the output here, yes, now you can see the difference. Now this is a parent is much bigger, and within the parent we have the absolute one. The absolute element is within the range or within the okay block of the parent. Okay, if I just change back to from absolute to relative and see what effect do I get. Okay, so now it is now the with relative it will change as per the viewable area. Okay, viewport area. Okay, so the left become 50 pixels, right become 40 pixels. Okay, accordingly. So we have Aditya, the last one which is there, which is called as an absolute. Okay. Though in the real world, when you see, we'll be using more on the basic one, which is the fixed, relative, and static. Okay. So these were some of the example related to positioning. Okay, Aditya. Um, Now we come to Aditya, another topic which is called overflow. What if the title tells me about overflow means what? You're there, Aditya?
Yes, I get it, Uncle.
So overflow means what, Aditya?
What? Overflow, I think it means like more than you need.
Oh, that's good. Correct. More than we need. I like the definition. See what happens is that we having okay, we write some text. Okay. Say okay, let's come to the overflow topic, Aditya. I'll save this work in the in your drive in case you want to access them later on. Okay. So overflow is a small topic. Okay, I come back to my coding. We'll start with the HTML structure, basic tags, the head tag, body tag, title, overflow. Let me define again a div tag. Write some text, Lauren 30. So 30 words would come. And to this div tag, let me do some styling. See if you notice my examples, they are repetitive. With just the minor change happening, Aditya, with the topic which we are seeing. Otherwise, everything is repetitive. The background color, right? This I've used before also. So color white and say some width, 100 pixel, height, 100 pixel. So once I see the result here, okay. So if you notice, Aditya, all my text is not visible. Then we can change the font size.
Yeah, I can notice that. Yeah, why?
Very good, very good. Okay, all my text is not visible. Okay, it is cutting somewhere down the line. So we have this topic, Aditya, which is called overflow. Okay, by default, the overflow is visible, meaning that it is not clipped. Okay, so if I If I make this visible, okay, it will not be clipped, okay, it will not be cut out, okay, and what how I make it as overflow, we write overflow specified as visible. When I specified visible, we'll just refresh and see. Okay. So the content which we are getting, Aditya, is this much. Though I've written many content, okay, it's around 30 words which were written, random words. Okay, so all the words are not getting visible actually. I keep this much. Okay, so it was this much text. The 30 words were there. Okay, and now when we go to the example here, background width and height, border, overflow visible. It will be written inside the div tag. Other than I was expecting that every text should be visible here, but I don't know. It's not giving me that complete effect because if you notice width and height, let me increase the width and see 300. Okay, still the complete text is not visible. So it would have been better if the complete text could have been gave me a proper visibility. Okay, so now let me add further. Actually, it is playing the role of an hidden. Okay, we can also add overflow scroll. Scroll means what, Aditya, is that if I write overflow scroll, there will be scroll bars which will come up on the screen. If it finds that the text, can you see the difference? The scroll bars is coming now. It's not always the scroll bar will come to the edges of my screen. It can be to a block also. A scroll bar can be added.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, that's nice. Correct. So we have the scroll bar can be added. Auto means what? The value is similar to scroll, but it has scroll bars only when necessary. Necessary means, Aditya, if suppose I'm having some very less text, okay, and to this text probably I will not be needing any scroll bars. Okay, so it's fine. Now if I set to this to auto, so now the scroll bars are not needed. Okay, and the scroll bars won't come either. But if the text, suppose the user increases the text, he writes some more content, and now when you refresh the page, you can see the scroll bars would be generated, which were not before. So it is like something as per my need, the scroll bars will be appearing. So we have this overflow property, which is auto. If we just need a vertical scroll bar or a horizontal scroll bar, we can also write like this: overflow hyphen x. Overflow hyphen x. I want x1 to be hidden and overflow hyphen y, y1 to be at an auto mode. So, so x is the sleeping line, y is the standing, y is the vertical line. So y is auto, so y is visible, and there's no scroll bar here. If I change this, if I keep x as auto and y as hidden, let me see what effect it causes to my screen. Okay, so x1, though I could have expected the scroll bar to be here, is not showing. Okay, so basically we have these features, Aditya, wherein we can add some scrolling features to my screen. Okay, so it's simple. It's if you notice, it's like trying out the examples and seeing the effect of it. Okay, so here the overflow property. Overflow decides upon whether to add scroll bars or not, or to make how much content should be visible on the screen. So just quickly recollect, we have been static property, relative property, fixed, absolute. Sticky I can teach you with when we see some advanced level coding. Overflow property, overflow we have visible, hidden, scroll and auto. So then we'll proceed to the next property, Aditya, called the float property. Okay. The CSS float property specifies how an element should float. Oh, float means like move onto the complete screen. The CSS clear property specified what elements can float beside the cleared element. I'll teach you with an example. The float property is used for positioning and formatting content. Example: let an image float to the text in a container. The float property can have one of the following values: left, right, none, inherit. In its simplest use, the float property can be used to wrap text around images. So it will be like a text, and if it's given float right, the image is floating towards the right side. Okay, so Aditya, how things look here is that, see, if there's a para tag written. In this para tag, there's an image source been added, and there's a text group written. So I will also use this example, Aditya, in my code. So the image which I will use is, I'm having some images in my computer in a folder, which is this image one. So let me try this image one. So I'll change this to image one, which I already have in my computer. Image one in the extent JPEG. Okay. So Aditya, basically what happens if I don't use the float property? Let me just show you without using it how things look. So see, what happens is, if I see in the browser too, okay, it is coming like this. First the title is coming, then some another one para tag is there, then the image comes, and then the text appears. This much space is getting wasted, okay, because the image is occupying that much space. So what we do, Aditya, is that if I write for the image float right, what it will do, see, the image now, the text would appear and the image would be floating towards the right side of my screen. Okay, so same way we can write float left. Float left will make the image to float towards the left of your text. Left of your text. So basically, an image property, Aditya, by using the float property, is used for positioning and formatting content, and how an element should float. Okay, so you can have left, right, none, inherit. If you mention it as a float none, so this would be the default way. So Aditya, nothing great happening, but it is like the default ways now it will be seen. And then we have the clear property.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay. The clear property specifies what elements can float beside the cleared element and on which side. What do you mean by that? The common way to use the clear property is after you have used the float property on an element. Let's understand. Okay, let's go slowly and check this out. Oh, it looks very. So we have some. Actually, I think we should deal with some float example first. Okay, to makes you understand what it means. So Aditya, basically the float property is there. We can make it float towards the left, towards the right of the screen, okay, and make content more visible. Okay. So left, right, that values you have to remember. I'll just paste this data also. So Aditya, what we have been seeing till now is three different examples. Do you recollect the title of the topic which we discussed today, Aditya? Is it possible for you? What was the first topic, if you can recollect, Aditya?
I think it was C++, HTML, I think.
Very good, very good. It was CSS, not C++, but good, good
Oh,
effort.
yes, sorry,
Okay.
sorry.
So in CSS, Aditya, we saw the first topic which was about, okay, about position. Okay, and we discuss about the static, relative, fixed, absolute position. Okay, and how it affects the layout of my content. Then Aditya went to the topic of overflow. Overflow means what if you want to add scroll bars to the screen, how you can do so. Okay, make it visible, make the content hidden, depending upon the width and height of the box. And then the next topic Aditya we saw is about float. Float means how to you can make text and image combination, how the text would appear, where the text would appear, where the image would appear. We can make the image to move towards the right, then we can sometimes make the image to move towards the left. Okay, so these are some of the examples which we are working on. So Aditya, in the ahead class, when you meet me in the next class, I will continue with some more examples, display inline, what it does and all. And once it is done, then we'll go slowly to make some websites. Okay, so once the basic learning is done, and I show by that time your computer would also be working. Can I expect the Visual Studio to be running by next lesson, Aditya?
Yes,
Good, very good.
you can expect it.
Okay,
I
okay.
accidentally clicked unmute, but I was trying to click unmute, but I clicked call.
No problem.
It's
Okay.
7:28. Is it okay if I leave?
Yes, yes, we'll stop for the lesson now. Okay, so we'll meet next time. Okay,
Okay, bye.
bye, bye.